Bonjour mes amis, et bienvenue au Pendu dans le Cercle de Lune. Hello friends, if this is your first time here, welcome. Thank you for coming. I'm pleased to meet you. If you've been here before, thank you for returning. I'm truly honored. Friends, from my attempt at a French introduction to this video, you probably already know that this is my series in which I use Cercle de Lune adjacent, or antique Italian decks to help me get a concise message, a short, simple message from my larger spread, which I do on a weekly basis. And starting last week, I began my deep dive into the Thoth tarot system, the Harris Crowley Thoth. And the spread I'm using for that deck, for that series, the beginning of the series, I should say, it's going to be a year-long series, a year-long deep dive. But my beginning of that deep dive, I'm using what I call an elemental spread, and it might be an elemental spread, but it's how many cards? 6, 7, 8, 9, 12. It's a 12 card spread. It's kind of a chunky spread. So I want to get a concise message out of that spread. So I do this shorter spread with a shorter video, giving us a kernel of a message, or perhaps even a key to help us unlock the larger spread. And still, I highly recommend going and watching that longer video, the larger spread, first before you come back and watch this video. Because if you do that, you will have an understanding of the foundation, the basis from which this spread is being read. And just in case you have seen that longer video, and it's been a while, so you want a little bit of a refresher, let me give you a quick reminder. The larger spread began with the idea of indolence. And reading through the spread, it seems to me that the spread was pointing out that there is a lot of potential creativity and power here for us. And yet, we are blocking it for ourselves and not helping ourselves by beating ourselves up for not acting on the power that we have within us. And so not only are we experiencing indolence, but that experience of indolence is heightened, is aggravated by the self-flagellation that we are in the middle of. Does that make sense? And we got some idea of how we could perhaps get ourselves out of that problem. We had some clues as to where some of our power lies, which is all wonderful. It was a very emotional spread, meaning there were a lot of cups, a lot of water suits in that spread. That's what I mean. I don't mean that I broke down and cried, but it's a spread that was full of the element of water and emotions and creativity in that sense. So, wonderful. But what's it all about, Alfie, right? So I've pulled 3 cards, well actually 4 cards, from 2 different decks to do this reading. I've got a Cercle de Lune deck and I've got an Oracle deck, because I've started pairing one Oracle deck with my Cercle de Lune readings, and so I've got that all set up for us. So what I'm going to do is I'll show you the question that I ask every week, all printed out nice and pretty, and then I will give you a picture of the spread. Oh, but before I do that, I'm going to put a link up here. I forgot to tell you that I'm going to put a link up here that will take you over to the larger spread for the week. So if you want, go hop over there, come back, and then watch the rest of this video. Okay, friends? So here we go. Friends, what are you thinking? When you saw that picture, did you think, oh no, did he upload that picture upside down? What's wrong with him? What's wrong with this? Something's wrong. Well, friends, did you recognize the deck? Do you have this deck? The deck you saw, the Cercle de Lune deck that you saw, is called the Spanish Tarot. It's a mass market produced deck. It's still available, but the copy that I have is from 1970 something, and it's an edition that it's a printing that is way out of print. Yeah, the newer edition has very different coloration. The skin tones are much more orange, and frankly, I don't like it. So I found and purchased an older edition of this Spanish Tarot with what I think of as much healthier looking skin tones. Because no one I know is that orange. Even, never mind, I'm not going to go there. There's a politician who many of us describe as being orange, and that orange is not a natural color, and that orange is not healthy. Stopping there. But you saw that, yes, all three cards were reversed. For some of my tarot, don't I say, not all of them, but some of them, I read with reversals. I shuffle in reversals. And the ones that I shuffle in reversals for are the ones where it's very clear where the top of the card is and where the bottom of the card is for all of the cards. So for the Two of Wands, for the Six of Wands, many decks, it's really hard to tell unless you've memorized the flowers. It's really hard to tell which way is upright and which way is reversed. For those decks, I do not shuffle in reversals. Same with the coins cards, yeah? For the Six of Coins, for a lot of decks, it's impossible to tell which is upright and which is reversed. And some people say, that's good. That means that that card does not have a reversed image. The other cards, you can tell are reversed. Those you would read as reversals, and I don't want to mess with that. So, a lot of my decks, most of my decks, I do not read with reversals, but some I do. And this is one of the decks in which I do, because you can tell. Especially, look at this Two of Wands card. Here's the Two of Wands card reversed. Now, generally, without any other indication, it's really hard to tell, is this upright or is this upright? Which is upright, which is reversed? You'd have to memorize these leaves to know. However, on this deck in particular, in addition to the two twos on this side and on this side, there's a 2 in Roman numerals down here as well. This is the top of the card. So this way it's reversed. Yeah? So I could tell that after I shuffled and laid out these cards, all of them were reversed. From left to right, we had the High Priestess reversed. Then we had card 13. I'm not going to name it because it doesn't have a name. Card 13 was reversed. And then the Two of Swords was also reversed. So what does that mean? Let's start off with the High Priestess. Now let me show you. I really love this deck. See this beautiful High Priestess? See the purple in her clothes? See her beautiful face? I think this is just a gorgeous deck with gorgeous colors. I love the purples in this deck. I even love the goldish yellows in this deck. And like I said, this printing is the one that makes me sing. So, the High Priestess. Upright, it's self-knowledge, it's self-development, it's study, retreat, isolation, feminine wisdom, and meditation. Those are some of the attributes of the High Priestess. Upright. Which are all things that were pointed to in the Hermit card for the Thoth system. Wait a second, no. No, I mean, were pointed to for the Hermit card and the Star card, which were paired up together in the larger spread. And we got this Priestess reversed, right? So what does that mean? Well, it could be that we're hiding our true nature behind social norms. There could be an emotional block. And that emotional block could be causing our resistance of self-knowledge, of our self-development. that we could have the desire to study, but we're not doing it. Now, isolation was indicated in the larger spread, but we're not doing it. We're resisting this. And the larger spread for this week, being laziness, being indolence, was all about our resistance to activity. So all three of these cards being reversed made perfect sense to me. We're resisting our self-knowledge. We're resisting studying. We're resisting learning about ourselves and who we are. And we're resisting doing the internal work and hiding ourselves behind a facade of some kind. And maybe that facade, that norm, is what looks like laziness. Does that make sense? So we start off here. And we start off here because if you look at the cards upright, because it's easier to see that way, yeah, the High Priestess is looking at card 13, and card 13 is looking at the Two of Swords. So line of gaze shows us that we want to read this series of three cards from left to right. So the High Priestess is looking at card 13, which in the Smith-Waite deck is called the Death card, but it's card 13. Upright, it's change and suffering, but change. Ending cycles, profound transformations, and eliminating those things that block us. And in that process of eliminating those things which block us, we're also doing the work of harvesting and cleansing and keeping only the essentials and casting the chaff aside. We're doing the work of the subconscious, which would be wonderful, except this card is in reverse. So maybe we're doing some things like we're resisting, we're not doing the work of eradicating the old to make way for the new. Or maybe we're having difficulty coping with change or coping with loss. And maybe that's what's causing our inability to, which may be what is causing our resistance to acting in the world. I wanted to say that clearly because the main spread of this week was about resisting doing, resisting activity, and that having the face of indolence. So we're resisting change. We're resisting ending the cycle, or we're grieving the ending of a cycle and not allowing ourselves to move past it. We're not doing the cleaning work, and we're not harvesting when it's all possible. We're resisting all of that. We're resisting our own transformation and our own evolution, which is possible, but we're not doing because we're not doing the work of the High Priestess either. We're not doing the studying. We're not doing the isolation. We're not doing the self-knowledge and self-development. We're hiding behind something. And so we come up to the Two of Swords. Let me show it to you upright, although upright and reversed really don't make much of a difference. The blues in these swords are just gorgeous, don't you think? Two of Swords, clarification and research. Like the research of the High Priestess, self-knowledge, self-development, gathering information, maybe gathering information from within as well, and developing our own insights, taking advantage of our imagination and our daydreams to create new prospects and new possibilities for ourselves. Maybe the preparation for a project. It could be the Gemini thing of hopping from one subject to another, but I don't think that's what this is talking about here. In reverse, we have divergent thoughts causing paralysis, lack of concentration. Maybe that's where that hopping from one thing to another might come in. But I don't think it's a hop. I don't think we're taking advantage of our own potential energy even that much by hopping from one thing to another. We're just not moving. We're paralyzed. We're not finding our clarity. We're not doing the research. We're not even allowing ourselves to imagine or daydream. Because we started off with this card not doing the work to develop ourselves, to know who we are, to study. And so we're not doing the work of ending our cycles, to clean up what's around us, to harvest what we can keep, to eliminate the unessential, to transform. And so, even our daydreams and our imaginations are blocked now. We can't develop insights. Even if we're reaching and struggling and striving to get a new idea, to get some understanding, it's not there because we've blocked the path to get there. We ourselves have blocked the path. And so, we've got a little bit of advice from an oracle deck. This deck is called the Zammer Twins Oracle by Patrick Valenza. I'll have a link to this deck, and I'll also put a link to the current edition of this deck, which again has different colors. The faces are much more orange. Some people like that. I like this one better. But if you want to get this, it's still a beautiful deck. If you want to get the modern version of the Spanish Tarot, I'll put a link to that in the description box below and a link to Patrick Valenza's site to get the Oracle deck. Because I like this Oracle deck and I think it works very nicely for my Tarot de Marseille readings. And this is the old devil. You see this old devil looks like he has aching bones and tattered wings and is shuffling into his sunset. Looking back over his shoulder, though, he tries to reminisce about his days of glory when he was a young, sprightly devil causing mischief. But even now, his memory is starting to fail, and even yesterday seems to be just a faded dream. Looking back, trying to remember, but scratching his head and, what did I do? So the meaning for this card upright is becoming obsolete or irrelevant. It could be aging. It could be forgetfulness. It could be mental or physical decline as well. Living in the past. Skills that are depreciating, that are being lost. And the passage of time. It's the getting old card, which frankly feels a little bit ageist to me. Just a little bit ageist. However, what does this card have to tell us now? I think what it's trying to tell us is that in this circumstance, not that we are getting old and we're getting obsolete and we're losing our ability to do stuff. That's not what this card is saying, I don't think. I think what it's saying is that we are focusing on things that are now obsolete for us. We're forgetting where we want to go. We're forgetting who we want to become. And instead of doing the work of that death card of transformation and clearing out the old to make way for the new, harvesting the good, but letting the chaff go to the wind. We're not doing that work. So if you let some plants grow and grow and grow and grow, they will start growing so much that they weigh themselves down and they suffocate themselves. In some plants, in some specific conditions. Which is a cycle of life, but for us right now, what we're noticing is that those parts that it's time for us to clear away, we're not doing that. And the things that are now irrelevant are building up and preventing our movement forward. Causing us to forget the path that we were on, the path of our development, our evolution. And because of that, we're living in the past because that's all that's around us. We need to clear it out to make way for our vision, to make way for the Two of Swords, for clarification, for gathering information, for developing our insights, for exploring our imagination and our daydreams. But right now, the old stuff is, we're surrounded by the old stuff. And so we feel like this. And because we feel like this, we're not able to see our way forward, we resist activity and we get that feeling of indolence and we start beating ourselves up for it. I'm not good enough. My skills are going down the toilet. I'm feeling old. Have you ever heard a 30-year-old say that they're old? I'm getting too old. My inner child is flipping that person off right now. Yeah, we're not getting old. Time has no relevance to our getting old or not. Not that I'm saying that we need to buy into the addiction of the youth, the addiction to youth, the hyper-idolization of youth. That's not what I'm saying. Youth is just as immaterial as age. What is material is who we are, where we are, when we are. And labeling ourselves as declining is putting up a barrier in our way of our moving with the powerful flow of intention. Criticizing ourselves for things that we think that we should be able to do and we think we can no longer do is worse than a fallacy. It's like sticking a knife in your own gut. There's no need to do that. There's no need to berate ourselves for who we are right now. But I can't X as just like I could in the past. Well, you can do something that you weren't able to do in the past because you have evolved, you have improved, you have grown. If you're living your life fully and intentionally, you've done all of that stuff. You are not who you were 30 years ago, and that's a good thing. But right now we're doing this where, well, I can't do what I used to do 30 years ago. I can't be who I used to be 30 years ago. Well, I'm not. Thank God. Thank the divine, thank the great mother, thank the universe, whatever. Thank you. So this card is here not telling us what we should be doing, but telling us where the problem lies. We're focusing on those things which are becoming obsolete, irrelevant, old, depreciating. Clear it out. Clear it out from mental space especially. So that we can do what? We can turn these three cards upright. So we can do, wait a minute, where's the top? Okay, so we can do the work of the High Priestess. Self-knowledge, self-development. Transform, harvest. Eliminate the things that are blocking us and move forward and grow. And develop insights, find clarification, imagine, daydream our future, find our path forward. And like the flower in the center, blossom and grow. Where we are, not where we were, where we are. Does that make sense? I think that's the central message of this week's spread. This is what we're experiencing and what we want. And so we had to figure out what we want to do to be able to move forward. What do you think? Does that make sense? If it does, let me know in the comments below. If it does not, let me know in the comments below. How would you read this? I would love to hear from you. And friends, hit the thumbs up button, please. It helps the channel if you do that. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and hit the alarm bell so you get notifications of when I upload videos. That helps the channel as well as you. Getting notifications helps you. Hitting those buttons helps the channel. And comment below. I really would love to hear from you. Oh, friends, do you want a reading from me? My email address is below. Shoot me an email to thehangedmaninthemoon@gmail.com. We'll get you a reading with any system you want. So friends, thank you very much. Thank you for being here. And now, as always, I wish you love, joy, well-being, and pure awareness. Thank you. Okay, we're going. Oh, shoot.